what are good readings? You said lower is better. You said below 130, preferably below 120. Mm-hmm. How do we know, should I just be looking at my wearable and see what my smartwatch says my blood pressure is? What are we doing?
As of right now, the frameworks for different classifications of hypertension more or less remain the same. Stage 1 hypertension is 130, the top number 130 to 139 over 80 to 89. And then stage 2 is considered anything greater than or equal to 140 over 90. Even though those are the same, again, the imperative is that we've shifted towards earlier intervention. And if, for example, you find yourself in in stage 2, no matter what your history is, you're probably viewed as a candidate for more intensive therapies, as we'll get into. In order to be diagnosed, you first have to have an elevated office reading, and then you also have to prove that it's elevated in an ambulatory or a home setting. So you would either take, using a validated device, you would either measure this yourself, have somebody measure it, or be given some sort of validated wearable that can detect that. So rest assured, if you're giving platelets and you flag a high reading, it's not that you should ignore it. It's just that there are so many inputs that go into a proper reading. Think about giving platelets the way that you're sitting. You might be, flexing your abdomen a certain way. Your feet might be up. It's not a
running to get there.
Yes.
Probably listening to politics on the radio on the way in.
That's right. It's not conducive to a superb reading, we'll say.
Okay.
For the most part.
But it's not just a single office visit. They read it and now that's it. We're done.
Exactly.
There's more to the diagnosis.
Exactly. And even if you're with the individual who's getting you ready for the donation and they're talking to you, you're talking back. Talking can raise blood pressure up to 10, 15 points. So it is such a, for a lot of people, it's really such a, delicate balance. And so at this point, if you even go into your doctor's office, that's not even really viewed as a great opportunity to have that criteria met. You run in, you weigh yourself, you walk back to the office, you sit down, and then within 2-3 minutes, you've walked, 100 yards to get back there, and they're already taking the reading.
And I'm irritated because that scale just lied.
That's right.
Every single time. Okay.
Yeah. So there's there really is a kind of a whole process more or less to get somebody's, to get a proper reading, which we won't, I guess, get into fully. But we don't want the kind of the take home point here is one reading is noise. The average is the data that we want. The guidelines are prioritizing out of office monitoring. And so this is the ambulatory readings, as you might hear, or home readings. And we want to get that diagnosis not based on one stressful visit. We want to see over the course of over 24 hours or, an entire week, where do you fall in that spectrum? Because on the flip side, we might see, you see people like we mentioned who, if you're giving platelets or if you go to your office and you have white coat syndrome, as I'm sure you've heard, and your reading is high, then that's actually not a bad thing. It just warrants a clinician to maybe investigate this a little further. The issue is something called masked hypertension. That's where your blood pressure reading is normal at the doctor and then high at home. So if you go into the office and you find yourself, it's 121 over 80 and you're like, man, I'm good to go. In most cases, you usually are, but there are instances where this more kind of dangerous subsector of hypertension can occur. So
that's weird.
Yeah. So you want to, again, to drive home the point, in office or in clinic readings are really important. Or if you're at a pharmacy and they can take it for you, it's worth knowing it. It's minimally invasive. It's really easy for the most part. Yes. Some of these, devices are automatic. You can get it done there. But then also, it's maybe a good idea to use your grandfather's or your parents' blood pressure cuff every now and then, or if you have one at home. Okay. And then the other thing is the device itself. So these are just, I think, really boring but practical things to make note of. If you are unsure if it's a good device, you can go on validatebp.org, and it goes through a whole list of cuffs and blood pressure monitor companies that are accurate, that have been tested and calibrated.
That's
and such.
cool.
So
all right.